Hi, my name is Sviatoslav Hnizdovskyi. I'm the CEO and founder of OpenMinds. And today I'd like to talk about why defense-only strategy is no longer efficient in the modern cognitive warfare. I'd present you a few specific investigations from Ukraine and from the temporary occupied territories of Ukraine, and how are we trying to go beyond just investigative work and look into the content messaging and communication campaigns. So just a little bit about OpenMinds. So we are the technology-driven company that develops tools, but also conducts investigations and campaigns in hard-to-reach areas. And since 2023, we've done more than 2.5 billion engagements with the target audiences. And this specific talk, I'd like to start with the digital occupation report that we've done together with the Atlantic Council's DFLab. There are many different findings, so I would really encourage you to go and visit Atlantic Council's or our website to go through that. But basically, we followed the 3.5 thousand bots over the course of a bit more than a year. We looked at how they communicated, what specific narratives they disseminated. And one of the key learnings is that it seems like we don't have the reliable indicators of bot-like activity anymore, because the bots became much better at mimicking the behavior, the semantics. They use, of course, Gen AI models to randomize their text outputs. And even by looking at something that in the past was quite reliable, to predict bot behavior activity is now much harder. So I'm just throwing a few charts here, but there are many more on the website to look at. For example, one of the few reliable things to look at is the distribution of comment length. But again, it's something we believe could be fixed quite easily by just proper prompting, of the adversaries. So the big question is, for us as a whole industry, what do we do beyond just investigations, right? So quite often, even though it's hard to detect bot activity, imagine if we can do that, and all these using all the different fancy social media listening tools, we're still able, let's say, to detect a subset of bot activity. Then the big question is our response, because the platforms are not really collaborative in removing the bot activity. We have the very limited tools and means to do something about that. Maybe occasionally, if we publish, the list of bots on the official channel of the whatever Stratcom or country in Disinfo institution, that might reach some audience, but I would also question the effectiveness of this activity. And we are left with the question: can we actually do some form of proactive communication ourselves as the democratic world to counter the effect of what adversaries are doing? And for that specifically, the brief sneak peek into what was done in Ukraine is the approach with randomized controlled trials. So we try to split the target audience between control and experimental groups. Control group would receive some neutral message or narrative. Experimental groups would receive some, narratives that we believe could shift the attitudes and potentially create some form of inoculation effect against the adversary's propaganda. So here specifically, that's something we did on the territory of the occupied Ukraine. So asking people about their support of the relatives' desire to participate in the special military operation. And we've asked also Russian population in particular here. So as you can see, we've compared the control group to the different narratives and how they can actually, in the experimental way, decrease this support. And that's why we could claim the attribution of the specific message to the fact. And there were a few more things done here in the collaboration with our colleagues from the John Hopkins University, and the proper academic paper will be published quite soon as well. So we've looked into different narratives. We looked into how, for example, the narratives about the dependency of Russia from China is growing, and whether that would potentially shift people's attitudes about the SMO participation and recruitment. And we found some promising ones, but the big question is then how can you deliver these content messages, content narratives on scale? And that's, I think, another big question that we as an industry have to raise. So just going from investigations and analysis to proper message testing that can counter the messages that our adversary are disseminating, both domestically in their own, in information environments, but also proactively in our information environments. And the last big I think question is how do we create the digital platforms, channels where we could, in the scalable and measurable way, actually do this counter messaging and do our own campaigning. So these are the questions I'm leaving you with. And if you're working in this domain, if you're thinking in the similar direction about countering FIMI just beyond investigations, I would really love to get in touch. So please drop us a note at sh@openminds.ltd. That's my personal email, or feel free to visit our website. And lastly, for the industry and our contribution to the ecosystem, we are running what we call the Cognitive Defense Monitor. That's where we basically collect the database of all of the different investigations from different institutions, think tank, research labs, private companies, doing all sorts of analysis of information environments. And we group them by platform, by regions, by the methods used, and put into the single database with some abstract and key insight from our editorial team. So it's free of charge, and you can access it via the Notion database on our website or through this QR code. So please let us know if that works for you, and we want to make this product available for the whole industry to facilitate more dialogue here. Thank you very much, and hope you have a great time during the conference.